How's it going? Welcome to the No DQ live recap of Monday Night Raw for January the 11th, 2020. We had a major news story earlier in the day. Drew McIntyre, the WWE Champion, tested positive for COVID-19. And what was so noteworthy about this, not only the fact that it was the WWE Champion testing positive for the virus, but also for the first time ever, WWE actually acknowledged that somebody tested positive. This was the first time WWE made an announcement, and this information came directly from the company. McIntyre was originally scheduled to face his nemesis from 2020, Randy Orton, in a non-title match on Raw. That had to be changed. WWE quickly announced that Triple H would be opening the show. Triple H made his entrance to the ring. We had a recap shown from last week's show with Randy Orton messing around with the legends and intimidating them, all that stuff. Before Triple H could really say anything, though, Randy Orton came down to the ring, interrupted Triple H, said that the office decided to show up because Drew McIntyre couldn't. Orton brought up how he was supposed to have the big match against McIntyre, and he wanted to know why Triple H was there. Was Triple H going to hand him the WWE Championship? Triple H responded by saying if Randy Orton does win the Royal Rumble, he'll get his opportunity at the championship. And Triple H did take a moment to praise Orton, talked about how he likes the fact that the old Randy Orton is back and doesn't think that Orton has crossed any lines. Even with the Fiend, Triple H said that he would have done the same exact thing. What bothers him, though, it's not the fact that Orton set somebody on fire. Triple H is bothered because Orton has been beating up legends, punting them, disrespecting them, humiliating them, all that, and just said that Randy Orton is a prick. Orton then responded by challenging Triple H to a fight, not a match, but rather a fight. And Triple H said that he knows this game. There's no benefit to him being in a fight with Randy Orton, so the answer is no. Orton responded by doing what always works with Triple H. You make it personal. You bring up his wife. Orton said that Triple H is not accepting the match because Stephanie is not there, and Stephanie has Triple H's balls in her purse. I feel like this line is used all the time, but like every other time, it works. So if it works, you might as well go with it. Triple H punched Randy Orton, and Orton basically took that as Triple H was accepting the challenge. My friend Caleb Jacobs with a $2.32 super chat, first one of the evening, says, paybacks are a bitch for Randy Orton. What goes around comes around. Interestingly enough, I think that was Triple H's logic for why the Fiend deserved to be set on fire, because the Fiend, I think the line was, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. So I guess because the Fiend does all these horrible things, it was okay for him to be set on fire. Mo Camera says the Fiend is buried. People should realize this by now. The company revolves around only one person, and that person is Roman Reigns. And I dare say what's wrong with that. I mean, you should build the company around other people, but if you're going to build the company around one guy, I'm okay with it being Roman. So I know that's not the answer Mo Camera wants, but Roman's been fantastic. And Mr. Anderson says, yep, once again, Triple H having his balls in Stephanie's purse line. Oofman says, going against the national championship, there's no way they are getting the same ratings from last week. I agree on that. I think anything above 2 million would be a huge success for WWE. But yeah, they're probably going to do the 1.8, 1.9 million, something like that. We did have a video from Drew McIntyre. So even though he tested positive for COVID, he did do a promo. I would believe it was from his home. He said that he had no symptoms, which is great news to hear. He said he should be back soon, and he mentioned that people should not take the virus lightly. If it can happen to him, it can happen to anybody. He asked people to wear their masks, follow social distancing. Good promo here from Drew as the champion, the guy that is the leader of the locker room. I liked the promo. Got the message across. Even though he's asymptomatic, he still wants people to follow the guidelines. So good stuff here from Drew. And there was more from Drew, and we'll talk about that here shortly in just a few moments. Uthman says they should keep Drew off TV until the Royal Rumble. They probably will. I suspect that Drew will not appear until the Rumble. Maybe the go-home show. It's a 2-week quarantine, I believe. But if he tests negative sooner, they might bring him back on the go-home show. Who knows? If WWE wants to play it safe, they would probably be best to hold him off until the Rumble. It's not really necessary for him and Goldberg to have a face-off or a contract signing, but I could see them doing it in 2 weeks if McIntyre tests negative like the day before or whatever. We had Charlotte up against Lacey Evans, and this was a follow-up from last week. Both Charlotte and Lacey cut promos before the match. Charlotte called Lacey classless, said she's going to show her how to act like a lady, was not mad at her father for costing her the match last week. Family comes first. Lacey said she's going to dedicate the match to her sweetheart, Ric Flair. And about halfway through the match, we had Ric Flair show up. And I'm like, okay, Drew McIntyre tested positive for COVID. And we've been talking about Ric Flair now since the pandemic started. Of all the guys to have on television, why Ric Flair? The guy is over 70. Why does he need to be on TV? Why do we need this storyline? Which sucks because Ric Flair being the asshole dad is just not, in my opinion, a compelling storyline. I don't want to see Ric Flair turning against Charlotte. I'm not interested in it unless there is some kind of bigger storyline to come out of this. I saw Robbie Vice's comments on Twitter about maybe this could lead to Ric Flair bringing in Tessa Blanchard to take out Charlotte. I guess that could be the saving grace of it, but man, it's going to be a hard sell for me to have Ric Flair be a heel at 70-something years old. It's a real tough sale for me, and I'm not sure that WWE can pull it off. And Marquand 1976 says, Ric Flair just turned heel again. And Mo Camera says, Ric Flair looks sick. He does not look healthy. And as Robbie Vice says, Flair and his daughter already did this a couple of years ago. You're just recycling the same storyline. So anyways, what happened during this match? Last week we thought maybe it was an accident, but this time Charlotte hit the natural selection and Rick put Lacey's foot intentionally on the rope so the count would be stopped. Then Charlotte yelled at Rick, told him to get to the back, go home. She picked up Lacey Evans to bring her back in the ring with a suplex, and shades of WrestleMania 5, Ultimate Warrior versus Rick Rude. In the role of Bobby Heenan, Ric Flair grabbed Charlotte's foot. Charlotte fell to the mat. Lacey fell on top of Charlotte, and Rick grabbed Charlotte's foot to hold her down. Referee counted 3. Lacey Evans beats Charlotte. And after the match, she walked away with Ric Flair. So apparently the flirting worked, and Ric Flair turned against his own daughter. TJS with a $3 super chat. Thank you, Tyler. He says, horny Ric Flair strikes again. Pandemic is over. Yes, horny Ric Flair certainly strikes again. And no, pandemic is not over, but to some it is. We had Keith Lee in the back for an interview. He was quickly interrupted by Sheamus. And basically, Sheamus was saying, if Drew McIntyre respects Keith Lee, he respects Keith Lee. Miz and Morrison came in, did their annoying correct, ripping into Keith Lee and Sheamus. And basically, Miz said they're going to right the wrongs of 2020. And a tag team match was made. But before we got to that, we had Jeff Hardy versus Elias. Well, it was supposed to be Jeff Hardy versus Elias, but Elias claimed that he was injured recording his latest music, so he had Jackson Riker take his place. And this match literally went like 30 seconds. Elias distracted Hardy. Stupid baby face alert. Jeff got distracted. Riker with the fruit roll-up beat Jeff Hardy in about 30 seconds. And then after the match, Hardy got on the mic and wanted a match with Elias because clearly Elias was not hurt. Elias accepted the challenge and told Riker to back off and not interfere. We had another match, Jeff Hardy versus Elias, which we already saw the conclusion to the feud with that Symphony of Destruction, or so we thought. Anybody who actually thought that feud was done was sadly mistaken. So anyways, pretty standard match here. Jeff Hardy hit the twist of fate, won with the swanton, and then after the match, Elias was upset with Jackson Riker because Riker, well, did not help him, even though Elias instructed Riker to not interfere. So yeah, I'm not sure how this benefited anybody. Jackson won with a roll-up, so doesn't mean anything. Hardy lost again, but then he beat Elias. Elias loses again. Hardy's been losing to Lashley, tapping out every week. Like, match really did nothing for nobody. We had Sheamus and Keith Lee versus The Miz and John Morrison. And during this match, Keith Lee threw Morrison into the corner and then did the running tackle into the corner, and the turnbuckle broke. It actually broke during the match, which it looked really cool. In a way, if it was done accidentally, I mean, either way, it kind of made Keith Lee look like a badass, that he's so strong that he crashed into the corner and the turnbuckle broke. So I think WWE, if it was an accident, they should capitalize on it. Anyways, after the commercial, the ring crew members got the turnbuckle back on, and the match continued. And Keith Lee, Sheamus, they worked well together. And Lee got the hot tag, came in. Sheamus tagged himself in and hit the bro kick to pin John Morrison. After the match, they hugged. Everything was all good with them. And it looked like Sheamus and Keith Lee, they're on the same page. Brian Spencer with a $5 super chat. Thank you very much for that, Brian. He says, at this point, I would rather see another Raw Underground or whatever it was called segment than another Miz and Morrison segment. You know what I think of that comment? I think you are correct. That's how badly Miz and Morrison have fallen off from the peak of entertainment. Like, every time they come on TV now, I'm just like, ugh, it's so bad. The material is just awful. And I think of how Miz was doing so well a couple of years ago. Although Raw Underground wasn't really cutting it for me either. So it's like a pick of two different types of poison. Like, you're not going to have a good result either way. Backstage, Triple H talked about how he was there for business. He did not come to fight. But one thing he cannot understand is how people like Ric Flair can be disrespected, people that paved the way. Now, this promo, first of all, doesn't make sense because of the whole thing with the Fiend, and how is that okay, but disrespecting the legends is not okay. But at the same time here, Ric Flair just turned heel against his daughter, and now Triple H is talking about how great Ric Flair is and people should not disrespect him. On the same show where Ric Flair purposely cost his daughter the match and took off with a woman, and we all know Lacey's married, Ric Flair's married. But yeah, Ric Flair cannot be disrespected. So yeah, we're just supposed to ignore everything that happened with Ric Flair on this show. And basically, Triple H accepted the match. Lucy Club Studios with a $5 super chat. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. Says, I miss the good old days when wrestler had to earn their spot in the Royal Rumble instead of claiming to be in the Rumble. Well, funny enough, there was a storyline revolved around that, which we'll get to here in just a few minutes. Thank you again for the super chat. And Rob Klein says Triple H just used Drew's promo since he couldn't be there, LOL. Yeah, probably. And we had a commercial break. When we returned from the commercial, we had Sheamus and Keith Lee arguing with each other, just totally random. After they won their match and everything seemed cool, all of a sudden they were at odds again, and we had another match. Double duty. And this was a recurring theme on this show, which backs up the rumor that there was another outbreak in WWE, that Drew McIntyre was not the only person that tested positive. So we had Sheamus versus Keith Lee. Good match here between these guys. I enjoyed it. Sheamus nearly got counted out at one point. Worked over the arm of Keith Lee to try and stop him from hitting the Spirit Bomb, but it did not work. Keith Lee managed to pull out the Spirit Bomb. He got him. 1, 2, 3. After the match, Keith Lee went to give Sheamus a fist bump, and Sheamus declined that. Instead, went for a hug. So I guess they're on again, off again. Sheamus and Keith Lee, the odd couple of WWE at the moment. And Mo Cameron says, so is Drew going to be at the Royal Rumble? That is the plan. The next segment we had here was a recap of Goldberg confronting Drew McIntyre on last week's show. And Drew had a follow-up promo from his home or wherever he was. I would presume he was at home. He said that he did not have a chance to thank the legends. Goldberg came out, interrupted before he could say anything. And Drew said to never meet your heroes because you will become disappointed, and talked about how Goldberg let him down and Goldberg let his legacy down by putting words in Drew's mouth that he never said. Drew revealed the reason why Goldberg showed up, because Goldberg has never won the WWE Championship. He's won every title except for that. And that's why Goldberg showed up. Drew said that Goldberg's 20 years older than him, but Goldberg needs a lesson in respect. And with that, Drew McIntyre officially accepted the match. Like I said, 2-week quarantine. Drew, they might rush him back the go-home show. It would probably be best to keep him until the Royal Rumble pay-per-view, keep him off TV. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I would think that Drew will be ready to go for that. So they're going forward with the match. Oofman Entertainment. Thank you, Oofman. I appreciate it. He says, with a $5 super chat, Tampa Bay Rays weren't going to be too happy with all these COVID cases as WWE uses their stadium. Yeah, but WWE is an essential business, and WWE is paying rent, and, well, I guess any money that comes in, you're sometimes having to just look the other way, I guess, when money's at stake, which sucks, but people gotta stay in business, and there's definitely that argument, but we're not gonna talk about that. That's a whole other topic that people get very heated with. We're gonna stick to wrestling here. And the next segment we had was Xavier versus TBar, my good buddy TBar. It was announced that Kofi Kingston has suffered a broken jaw. He was not on the show. And during the match, Retribution, they were out there. They were taunting Xavier, yelling at him, "Where's your family?" Xavier hit this cool-looking top rope drop kick, sending TBar to the outside of the ring. But then, stupid babyface alert. We had Xavier get distracted by Retribution, and TBar took advantage, of course, and pinned Xavier with his knee to the face. So, not much to say about this. It was just something for these guys to do on Raw. And backstage, we had Matt Riddle talking to the Lucha House Party again about something with pizza. It was... I don't know what was going on here. Did not really care much about it. And we had Riddle challenging Bobby Lashley for the United States Championship. Lashley took a page out of Riddle's book from last week, went right after Riddle before the bell even rang. Riddle started bleeding from the mouth. They did have a match, and Riddle had a brief moment of offense, but Lashley pretty quickly got control, caught him inside the ring, and put on the Hurt Lock. Matt Riddle tapped out to the Hurt Lock. And after the match was over, just like Jeff Hardy, Matt Riddle got on the mic and wanted to fight MVP. MVP accepted the match, so, it was just a repeat of earlier. And again, double duty, I guess, because there were a few other positive COVID tests, and WWE had to change things up at the last minute and have wrestlers pull double duty. So we had a match between MVP and Riddle. Riddle was on the verge of winning it. He hit the floating bro, and then Lashley came in with a spear, causing a disqualification. And there was a beatdown from the former Beatdown Clan members after the match, and MVP even gave Riddle a parting kick to the ribs. So it was what it was. Amanda says, "You always make me laugh every time you say stupid babyface alert." That's got to be a new No DQ t-shirt. I think we got to work on that one pretty soon. Stupid babyface alert. And just have pictures of all the stupid baby faces. We had a recap of Smackdown, which doesn't seem to happen too often, but I guess because of the circumstances, we had to have footage shown of Adam Pearce and Roman Reigns, that whole spectacle. And Adam Pearce, he was on Raw because he's overseeing both shows, and he met with AJ Styles. Styles entered himself, declared himself in the Royal Rumble match, and even teased that maybe it'll be him versus Pearce at WrestleMania for the WWE Universal Championship. And that's when Drew Gulak showed up and declared himself for the Royal Rumble. But Adam Pearce was like, "No, you cannot declare yourself. You have to earn your opportunity for the Royal Rumble." So I guess Drew McIntyre, he's out. He's out with COVID, and all these changes are being made. Drew Gulak competing for a spot in the Royal Rumble, probably something that would not have happened if this COVID thing did not happen. And it makes no sense because everybody else declares themselves. I guess Drew Gulak sucks that badly that he has to earn his way into a match. Everybody else, they've accomplished stuff, so they can just declare themselves. The whole thing is a bit ridiculous, but again, with McIntyre being out of the picture and possible other COVID positive tests, Drew Gulak fights AJ Styles to possibly get into the Royal Rumble. And of course, be eliminated in like 2 minutes if he got there. So we had this match. Gulak was thrown on the outside and Omis stood over him and looked all intimidating. WWE did the upward camera angle to make him look even bigger and more menacing than he really is. And not much to say. Gulak ended up losing to the Phenomenal Forearm and will not be in the Royal Rumble match. So there you go. We had a video package for Billy Boy, Whisker Biscuit himself, Bill Goldberg, which I thought was a pretty good video package to introduce him to any casuals that are still watching WWE. Probably not that many. I think for the majority of us, it's the same song and dance. We already know Goldberg's history. But whatever, just something to fill time. And Trey Johnson says, wait, ain't Gulak on Smackdown? I think he got drafted to Raw. I mean, he's been chasing after the 24/7 title, but I honestly don't even care at this point. So the brand split, whatever. We had Keith Lee meeting backstage with Triple H, and Keith basically offered to take Triple H's spot, saying that Triple H doesn't have to do the match with Randy Orton, but Triple H was like, while he appreciates it, he has to clean up this mess that he made. And they did a fist bump, and, Keith Lee was willing to do three matches in one night, but Triple H, he's a man. He had a leather jacket. He had to go out there and take care of some manly business and face his old rival, Randy Orton. We had a tag team match with Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler versus Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke. And going back to earlier, Gulak could not just declare himself, but Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke, they could. They could declare themselves for the Royal Rumble. I mean, Dana beat Shayna last week, so I guess that makes her worthy enough to declare herself. And, well, Mandy Rose, she's just, as Corey says, God's gift to wrestling or whatever. So she can declare herself, and nobody's gonna call her out on it. So anyways, Nia Jax hit the Samoan drop, but Dana Brooke made the save. And Shayna Baszler tagged herself in and put on the Cure for You to clutch on Mandy. Mandy tapped out, and Nia just stood there, appearing to be a little bit upset that Shayna Baszler stole her pin. And that was that. Mr. Anderson says this is the bathroom break match. So with less than 10 minutes of showtime left, we did have Triple H versus Randy Orton in this unsanctioned fight, whatever you want to call it. And Lucci Club Studios with another $5 super chat. I appreciate it. Says, Triple H means business when he is wearing his leather jacket. Absolutely. Like I said, when he puts on the jacket, he's off to do some manly business and get some aggression out on somebody and take care of that son of a bitch, Randy Orton. So yeah, less than 10 minutes to go. Triple H's entrance, Orton's entrance. They brawled a little bit. They fought on the outside. Orton was thrown into the steel steps and bleeding from the cheek. That looked a little painful. I guess he just went cheek first into the steps and got cut open. Triple H slammed Orton on the table, which is what Orton usually does to people. And then Triple H grabbed his sledgehammer, got into the ring, and was perhaps on the verge of using it when all of a sudden the Fiend's lights started flickering, and all of a sudden Triple H's sledgehammer caught on fire. He was standing there with a fiery sledgehammer, and then the lights went completely out. When they came back on, Triple H was gone. He vanished into the depths of hell, perhaps. He's going to be late for that business meeting tomorrow, most likely. unless the Fiend magically brings him back. We had Alexa Bliss in the ring, face off with Randy Orton, and then she pulled out an old trick from Kane. She shot Randy Orton with a fireball. Yes, a fireball spot to end the show. And I actually really liked this. I thought this was the best thing on the show, the very end with the fireball. Randy Orton there, blinded, a little bit of payback from TLC. I liked it. I thought it was a cool ending to the show. And Marquand 1976 with a $5 super chat, thank you for that, says, so Randy will let Alexa get heat on him, pun intended, but not Bray, shaking my head. Well, you want Bray, the Fiend, to sell that TLC spot being set on fire. He shouldn't be coming back right away. Let it slowly build up, Hell, I would not even bring the Fiend back until the Royal Rumble. But yeah, I like the fact that Alexa Bliss is getting to do some cool stuff. And Brian Spencer with a $3 super chat says, kind of a cool ending, but where did Triple H go? Well, again, he must have gone to the depths of hell, or maybe he just took advantage and slipped away so he could get in his car and get home and be like, I'm done with this. I haven't wrestled in 2 years for a good reason. Like, just that 5 minutes was enough. Interestingly enough, I don't think Triple H had one match in 2020, which is quite remarkable. So yeah, this was his first match in quite some time. Anyways, guys, what did you think of the show? What's your letter grade for Monday Night Raw? Better than last week, but that's not saying a whole lot. I'm bumping it up a full letter grade. I'm going with a C+. It was a very average show, and I give WWE a little bit of a break because of the COVID situation, having to make last-minute changes. Probably not much of an improvement, but I did like the ending, and a few good matches here and there. So not the worst show, but nothing to really write home about either. Mr. Anderson with a C, Israel Diaz C+, or C-, Kev with a C+, CC Drink, and the game is on 100 with C+. Kevin says a C- for no Drew, but understandable. Matt Helms with a C+, and J-Spin 401 with a C. Michael Wayne also with a C. Kim Hall C-, and Tic Tat Tat with a C-. Amanda with a D, and Jeremy Dorset with a C. And Marquand 1976 says B for Orton getting burned. I like it. And David Estevez with a $2 super chat, thank you for that, says, I know it's early, but Alexa has to win the Royal Rumble. Oh, I agree. Like, to me, this is Alexa's year, and I would start building her up for a title run with this new character. 100%. That would be my pick, Alexa to win the Rumble. But if Charlotte wins, not going to surprise me at all. Even Becky would not surprise me if she's back early, after, a month and a half after giving birth, or 2 months. But yeah, I think Alexa should get it. My opinion, I think she should get it. But don't know if she's going to get it. So on that note, guys, I will sign off for tonight. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I really do appreciate your viewership and support. Make sure you stay tuned to NoDQ.com for the latest regarding the latest COVID-19 issue in WWE, and apparently other promotions affected as well, Impact and AEW. And follow me at Aaron Rift on Facebook, Twitter, and at NoDQ, DOTCOM on Facebook and Twitter as well. Take care, everybody. Be positive, stay safe, and I will see you guys next time.